Hello everybody and welcome to the next video. In this video I'm going to talk about the fact that I have now got even more solar. As if what I had already wasn't enough. It's never enough. You can never have enough. You always want more. But yeah, so I work from home a lot these days, and my office room, which is this room, has a window just here to my left. And because I live on a hill, this window point looks directly south. So my vertical solar panels are mounted on the wall that this window looks out of. Because we're on a hill, my neighbor's house just out of this window is slightly lower than mine. And so when I turn to my left and I stare out of the window sometimes, as I do when I'm working from home, my eye level is pretty much dead bang level with the north facing side of my neighbor's roof. And I noticed that I think it was around late September time, when I first kind of noticed. I was looking out the window and I noticed the sun was shining still on the north side of their roof, and that kind of initially got me a little bit interested. I was thinking, oh yeah, the sun's still shining on that side of the roof. Maybe, maybe there's something there. And these houses all have a very low pitch on the roof, so they're not really steep like this. They're really low like that. I think it's about 23 degrees or something. So it's really a really shallow pitch. So it doesn't. The sun can come. The angle of the sun can come right down in the winter, and it will still just about crest the top of the roof, the ridge. And so yeah, I was looking at it and I thought, oh, that's interesting. So then a bit later, I took a photo on the I think it was around the 4th of October, just as a sort of a mental note. And the sun was still shining on the north facing side of their roof. And you can see that picture here. And then here's another picture taken on the 11th of October, and you can see that the sun is still hitting the north facing side of their roof. And then here's another one on the 24th of October, and it's still hitting the north side of their roof. I looked at that, and I think it carried on hitting their roof until well into November. I didn't take any more pictures though, but I thought if I was to get panels put on the north side of my roof, I could probably get the sun actually hitting them for probably at least 9 months of the year, maybe 9.5 months of the year. The sun would actually hit the panels, and the remaining time when the sun was that little bit lower that it didn't come over the ridge, I'd still get the benefit of getting some extra solar on those winter days when it's usually grey anyway. The sun isn't actually shining. It's usually just blanket grey everywhere. And so the north facing panels will do equally as well as the south facing panels in those conditions. And so on those sort of days, it would just give me that little bit extra in the winter. And because I've got basically 6 kilowatts of panels on my south facing side of my roof, I should be able to fit something similar on the north facing side, although not exactly the same because there's a chimney on that side. So that would limit the space a little bit. And also you'd need some space at some point on the roof so that you could actually cross through the panels to get up to the ridge in case you wanted to get up there to clean the panels from either side, sort of thing. So I thought I could probably get about 5 kilowatts of panels up on the north side comfortably. Potentially a few more if I really wanted to try and squeeze it, but comfortably 5 kilowatts. So almost the same as what's on the south side. So the next thought I had was, well, if I had 5 kilowatts of panels on the north side, then at the height of summer, I'm going to be generating, well, I currently can output about 8 kilowatts with my current systems on a sunny day in the middle of summer. So I would say I could probably get close to 13 kilowatts of output in the middle of the day in the summer, which is a lot more than I've got permission to export. So then I thought about whether or not I'd be allowed to output that much on a single phase, or whether or not if I wanted to output that much power, I would have to go to a 3-phase supply. So I contacted my DNO, my district network operator, which was a fairly painless exercise. There's just a email on their email address on their site, and I just contacted them through that and asked if I wanted to get more solar, would I be able to export any more than I'm currently have permission for, or would I have to put an export limiter on the new solar system so that my total output never exceeded what I've got permission for, which is 8 kilowatts. Because even that might be useful. You know, I could absorb the extra into the batteries so that the output never exceeded 8 kilowatts. So it wouldn't necessarily mean that I was chopping off most of the power. I could just store it, and so I'd still get the benefit of it per se, but it just means I wouldn't be able to export it as it came in. I'd have to sort of try and smooth it out using a battery and sort of suck off the top part of it into the battery when it's in the middle of the day, and then sort of re-export it later in the day to sort of get the benefit of all that export. So yeah, I raised a query with the DNO, expected them to say I'd have to have some sort of export limit. They might maybe increase it a little bit, but not up to 13 kilowatts. And to my surprise, they said 13 kilowatts is fine, which blew my mind. I thought they would say if I wanted to do that, I'd have to go to 3-phase. But no, they said it was fine. I just have to make the application, and they'll record it all and everything. So last time when I did it for the vertical solar, I made an application and I had to pay a sort of, I think it was £250 or something like that to do the application. So I was expecting to have to pay a fee again this time, but I don't know if it's because I've already made an application in the past, but this time there was no fee payable, which was also really nice. And they and they turned around and said that's fine. You can just accept the quotation. There's no fee to pay, and then you can go ahead. So this was all really good news, and so I did go ahead, and I've had 5 kilowatts of solar now installed on the north side of my house, and it pretty much went live just before New Year. So I should have a full year's worth of data to report on when I do my end of year stats. There'll be this. It won't sort of be a half a year where it was in, and not half of a year where it wasn't in. It'll be a full year where it was in place. I didn't count it on the end of my end of year stats because it did come on just sort of before the end of last year. But I didn't want to give the game away, you know, in my end of year stats video until I'd made this video. So yeah, there'll be a full year of stats at the end of this year with the north facing solar. But so far, I've been really impressed. There's a picture here of a view out of the window again of my neighbour's roof, and this was taken on the 6th of February, and you can see the sun's already hitting the north facing side of their roof, so that means it would also be hitting the north facing side of my roof. So really I think it's just going to be sort of December and January where the sun won't actually hit it, and so I could get as much as 10 months of higher output from it. Obviously it's striking it at a very, very sharp angle when, you know, that early in February, but it still makes more than if it's a grayer day, or if the sun is before the sun passed the ridge line. And you can see here, this was taken on the 20th of January, and you can see that on the Solax 1 inverter, that's got 5.4 kilowatts of panels facing south on it. That's generating 2,165 watts. And the north facing inverter, which has got 5 kilowatts of panels, is generating 974, so almost a kilowatt. So it's about half as much. But that was taken on the 20th of January. So you can see, you know, I'm getting an extra kilowatt even in January, and that is, you know, really helpful at this time of year in the winter. So yeah, disregard the output from the PIP, because that's my off-grid system, and it doesn't count towards what's being sort of output for export. So you can see that I'm still generating about 4.5 kilowatts that I could export even in late January. So that's incredible on a sunny day. And here's another picture. This one was taken on a grey day when it was just blanket grey everywhere. I took this screenshot off my system, and you can see here that the Solax 1 again, which is the south facing array, 360 watts, and the Solax 2, which is the north facing, 309. So almost the same, as I was saying. And you know, the Solax 1 has slightly more panels, so you'd expect it to be a little bit higher. So again, on a grey day in January, being able to have a total output there of 817 watts is enough. That means that I'm not having to pull anything from the grid just to keep the house basically running, all the fridges, the freezers, all that sort of stuff. There's probably even sort of 50 to 100 watts left over that can trickle into the battery. But you know, that is really impressive, and I'm really pleased that I went ahead and did it. And here's a screenshot that was taken on the 24th of February, which was quite sunny after a period of it being quite cold. So I think the panels were at their optimum, really. And my vertical array is literally at its peak this time of year, because the sun is shining square on it. So you can see my total output there, feeding into the grid, was 8,700 watts. And that's, you know, what, about a week ago, just towards the end of February. 8,700 watts at this time of year is phenomenal. I mean, it's just brilliant. I mean, this is gonna, you know, at the moment with the 15 pence per kilowatt hour from Octopus, this is, you know, this is going to help it pay for itself in no time at all. I mean, it's just brilliant. And if they ever did get rid of that, and I had to go back to the way I was working before, where I was basically trying to do off-grid, as many days off-grid as possible, you know, this is a game changer. I'm pretty sure I could be, you know, off-grid for a significant part of the year now, with the amount of battery storage I've now got, and with this amount of generation. you know, I think I could weather quite a few grey days, as long as you have a sunny day every now and then to really build the batteries back up to full again. I think it could last quite a while. Yeah, so that's I think that's all the images I've got. But so yeah, really pleased I did it, and it's going to be good footage for the channel to report on how well this north-facing solar does over the course of a whole year, and how much of a difference it makes, and you know, whether or not it's worth doing north-facing. You know, in days gone by, they always used to say it's not worth it, but now I think maybe, you know, there is something to be said for it, particularly if you've got a very low pitch roof like I've got. If your roof pitch is like this, I think it's not going to be probably worthwhile, because the sun would have to get, you know, really high. You know, you're probably talking about April, May or something before it's high enough to even crest the ridge of the house, let alone strike the panels. But because mine is very low angle, in my case, I think it really does make it worth it. The only way it could be better is if you could, you know, take the half of the roof like that and make it one big south-facing roof, and then obviously you could get a ton up there. I mean, that would be the dream. But I'm not going to have my roof redesigned just so I can put a load of extra panels on it. That would just never make sense financially. But if I was ever to go and sort of build a place of my own or something, you know, I would definitely go for a wedge shape, you know, so that the roof was south facing and entirely in one direction, so that you could just literally just cover it in panels. But yeah, so I'm gonna obviously make some references now to this moving forward in my videos, and when I do my quarterly stats, hopefully I can tell you about how much I've generated in the first quarter, and you know what that means financially. But at the moment, it's looking really, really promising, and I don't regret the decision at all. I think this is going to be a game changer. And like I say, with the battery I've just built now, I can store a whole lot more. Should the 15p export eventually disappear. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about, really. North-facing solar. Let's see how we get on with it. But yeah, please do ding that notification bell, and you know, I'll be posting more details about what it's generating and stuff in future videos, so you won't miss it if you ding that notification bell. But thanks for watching. Please do like, comment, share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff, and I will see you on the next video. Cheers.